let's do it. How's it going, guys? My name is Gabe Barrios, Gabriel. If you're a current subscriber, then you know that I'm a dancer, but I'm also an all-around creative in the film of production. I am a photographer and a videographer based just outside of San Francisco. I'm in the East Bay. I'm also in the AV industry, so that means I dabble in technology, the technology side of events. So things like projectors for presentations, or video mapping, or audio systems for small gatherings to large concert settings, TVs or LED walls for keynotes, things like simple pipe and drape. As a whole, just the love for the arts has always been in my heart. I've always dreamed about making videos, movies, hiking to epic places, taking epic pictures, right? They didn't have to be in anywhere extravagant, but just capturing the moment, being able to share something that's creative. I know a lot of things have been very crazy during this time, but because of that, and obviously we've already been here for a long time, so nice going, Gabe, on getting started on it right away. But I decided I am going to switch things up on this channel. My main goal is to simply create a space for me to share work, whether that be in dance or production, in photography or videography, conceptual videos, work that I do for short films, or maybe any of my clients' work that I decide to share with you guys. And with all that being said, 2020 in the world of cameras has been a very crazy year. As of right now, we're sitting on a lot of options to choose from as creatives. For myself, I've always used Canon. With all that being said, I had to make a video while I have my hands on one of the most controversial cameras of 2020, and that is this EOS R5, or EOS R5. We've all seen the hate on how this camera right here can be a waste of money. Don't hurt your pocketbooks. You can go another route. Just because of the overheating gate and having to deal with the memory alone. But I wanted to give you my initial thoughts on why I think this wouldn't be a waste, because the amount that you spend on it could actually come back to you twice more over, just like any piece of equipment, as long as you use it right. I've been shooting strictly on the EOS R system for the last 2 years. I've owned my own bodies for the last year and a half, rented when they first came out, just to make sure I really liked them before I made the switch to mirrorless. I've shot on things from Canon's APS-C line of cameras, from the Rebels to the 70-80D, 90D lines. From the 80D, I jumped to the 60 series, 60 Mark II. From the 60s to Mark II series is where I decided to upgrade, because that was really my first full-frame camera. I had rented the 5D4s and 5D3s before, just for their photo capabilities, not even really so much for video. And then made the jump to the EOS R when my work started to get more video heavy. It's a fantastic hybrid camera, but I think we can all agree that this, along with the R6, is something that we've been waiting for the last 2 years. First, I have to say that all of these points are just specific to me. In no way this is a sponsored video. I do want to thank Borrow Lenses for allowing me to be able to get my hands on this first thing that they received it into the warehouse, right at its release. It is a full production model, so I'm the first person to have this unit out as a loaner. But man, it's been a lot of fun to use over the last few days. I'm really sad to see it go, but a lot of this is going to be my experience coming from using the EOS R, which is what I'm filming this on. Now, I shot with Canon DSLRs before going mirrorless, and you're getting a lot of familiar functionality that you'd find using those 80, 70, 90D, or 5D series of cameras. There's a lot to get used to, whether you're coming from a current mirrorless or you're wanting to switch from the DSLR line finally. Things like the thumb wheel, right? This guy. The joystick, the button layout, the swivel screen. Obviously that's an upgrade from the DSLR lines that are like the 5D series, the more professional lines, 1DX. They don't have the vari-angle LCDs, but these guys have them, of course, just as the EOS R did. The top LCD that you either learn to love or hate from the EOS R. I'm someone who really appreciates the small detail, and there's a lot to appreciate with this camera, wherever you're coming from. The feel alone is fantastic. The nice deep grip has a super tactile build. even just adding grip to like the on-off switch, it actually has a little lever now versus it just being a wheel. It's nice to have a thumb wheel back to scroll through your images. It's just a professional camera that's going to give you a lot more functionality. Now for me, I actually really got used to the touch bar. I use that for my ISO adjustments. Now, I know it was super infamous and a lot of people, had a love-hate relationship with it. I am going to miss it, I think, a little bit, but you are getting a lot of the same functionalities by just customizing your layout. The biggest one for me, though, is switching to the video settings. And that's just because there's so many. There are so many video settings that you can possibly choose from. The EOS R, I almost never used the 4K because of the crop, unless I needed to get that extra range on a lens, or a client was specifically, okay with the crop and they needed the 4K. Right now I'm actually shooting this in 4K on a Sigma 14-24 just because I wanted that extra punch. Other than that, I haven't really needed the 4K. I've been able to shoot 1080 on that guy, full frame, and just upscale in post. If I ever needed extra range, then that's there. Or obviously I would use the digital IS as well, if the situation was applicable. But yeah, because of that, I would basically be switching between 24 or 60 frames per second full HD on the EOS R. And that was quick for me because it's just a matter of going down an extra setting in the menu or just switching your custom settings so that those are already preset to it. Obviously you have those increments that you're going to be changing as far as ISO, your aperture, but that's a really quick adjustment for me on my end. Now I can definitely still set those bases the same on this camera, just like you would with any. But you simply just won't be using your custom presets all that much because there's so much in this camera. Or at least I wouldn't. I wouldn't see myself just using one or two settings because you want to use them all. That's why you're going to buy this camera. Now, the absolute highest quality that this camera offers and what it does is great. Is it a gimmick? Only if you're thinking this is a professional 4K plus workhorse, which it is not. Overheating issue is there. Armando and Gerald both put fantastic videos out on the subject, so if you haven't seen those already, make sure you check them out. But this is a beautiful upgrade. Even the R6, for those looking to get better 4K out of their camera than what the EOS R or the 5D4 was providing. And I mean getting better by more frame rates, more dynamic range, better codecs. Those really looking to take control of their image. And now this is a hybrid camera. Regardless if you're a hybrid shooter or not, which I consider myself to be, it takes amazing videos and it takes amazing photos. But only so long as you know how to use the camera in each mode. Now for me, I was all about this camera's hype on announcement day. I was up at 6 a.m. to watch the Canon live stream. 20 minutes in, I already had set my pre-order for the R5 with Adorama. I later then, a week down the road, canceled that pre-order, and I pre-ordered the R6 instead. Now, why would I do that before even trying it first? Well, I simply knew that this system was gonna ask me to fork out a lot more money. Not only the system itself, but I would need to upgrade my laptop just to even handle the 8K footage or the higher bitrate downsampled 4K. I would have needed to stock up on even more storage, which, I have quite a bit of storage at home. I have upwards of 60 to 80 terabytes, but it would fill up fast with this, which I don't really want to do right now. I don't have a lot of work lined up coming in the next few months. I think I have like 3 jobs scheduled for the next few months before the end of the year, even for right now, video-wise. Plus, I could take the same amount of money that I was already ready to spend on, about the 5K mark with the body, the memory, and buy the R6, maybe a lens, maybe the battery grip, some extra accessories, and be set with 2 bodies to keep my EOS R, and rather than selling and buying the one, which is something that I was going to do. I had multiple Rs. I sold what I had in plans to buy the R5, in plans to upgrade to the CF Express, in plans to possibly upgrade a laptop. but it really is not a necessity for me right now. So for me, as someone who's pretty much alone on a lot of my shoots, or my wife helps, or maybe I hire an assistant or a second shooter, that's just for me what made sense. And for stuff like this, it's better to have two bodies rather than the one. Now, although that makes more sense all around, will I miss out on big selling points that Canon pushed on this camera by going with the R6? Maybe. I'll let you know once I get my hands on the R6. But I don't think I'll need it. 45 megapixels is a lot. And it's great for many reasons, but not something that any of my clients are going to demand. Now I did get to use it, and I did shoot at 45 megapixels because who wouldn't while they can. But I've been great with the 20 to 30 megapixels that I've been used to in all of the different Canon cameras that I've used till now. 8K video, full frame 4K at 120, it's nice. The all intra codec, it's great. But my work the past 2-3 years has been more than passable with EOS R, exclusively with all of its limitations. And when we all know that there's quite a bit of them compared to other cameras. Now, after some reassurance from people that I've known to use both for photo and even more for video specifically, I don't think I'm really missing out on information. I don't grade a whole lot of my work, and photo-wise, you still get so much for your money with the R6. I mean, shoot, you're sharing the same sensor and a lot of the same features as Canon's flagship 1DX Mark III. For me, something that just makes me really giddy when I got my hands on this camera was just the sound of the shutter alone. That's something that it just makes me smile. Maybe I'm just weird, but I took this guy out on a shoot, and being able to just use this in comparison to the EOS R is almost like you're shooting silently with this. Now there is a silent option, right? Just listen to this. Ready? Even a single shot. It's just nice. It's a lot nicer, in my opinion, than what the EOS R sounds like. Sorry, I love it, but this was just, I hope the R6 sounds the same. I was able to take this on, one or two photo shoots this week, and the usability is just phenomenal. It's a piece of gear that makes you excited to use it again, and I'm still excited shooting on the EOS R, but this was refreshing, provided that it gave me what, that body is lacking. I know for you technical video heads out there, you might have an issue with the 4K 20 being set as a 24 frames per second clip. But I frankly don't mind it. I mean, it's really nice that it's there because it wasn't before, so I'm just grateful for that. And especially if I use it, it's going to be definitely purposeful. I'm not going to be shooting 4K 120 all the time. And if you are, then you should probably try to switch it up. There's just something so nice about getting to view it instantly in camera like that. And it makes it really fun when you're shooting out with a client and you get a clip and you're able just to turn around and show them what it looks like in real time, and they're like, wow, like that slow-mo is awesome. That looks incredible. How do you make me look so good? Now, I couldn't get the most out of this camera just yet because, one, I didn't actually have a lot of time to create any crazy sets or build anything special, and two, there are quite a bit of limitations as to the higher formats of capturing photos and videos on this camera. None of my software, or any software to my knowledge, right now can handle the CR3 files coming out of this when you're using the RAW, or the 8K RAW. I had a lot of issues, and I think everyone's having issues right now with any new release of a camera, with you being able to view those files out of camera or work with them. Now this does make me excited for the R6 in a month, but I am definitely sad that I won't be keeping this guy. I had 512 gigabytes worth of CF Express cards, two 256 gig cards, and that was enough for me for now. Now in terms of capturing photos and videos, that is, a lot of my photos didn't take much of that space up, even using the RAW. I went ahead and saved those so that hopefully I can view them at a later date. But if a client were to request more, or if I needed to use this as my A-cam peak wedding season, I'd buy more storage. I'd buy more storage then, or just rent it at that point. It's fairly inexpensive to rent. Anyways, that's it for me today, guys, and probably at least for another week. And I'm busy with some work coming up, and we're going to take a little family vacation. My wife and I's first anniversary this coming week, so we're just going to enjoy time with the family and away without having to worry about the day-to-day stuff. But yeah, I hope you guys like this video. Please consider subscribing if you haven't already. Follow me on other pieces of social media, and I'll see you guys in another video soon, where I probably won't have blonde hair. I'm over it already. Yeah, it was just a cool, like, it wasn't cool, but it's quarantine. Weird things are happening. Yeah.